We are barreling towards the season 2 finale of Severance. It's been another excellent season, and episode 9 is here to set the stage for what I assume is going to be a very epic finale. With that in mind, let's break down the noteworthy moments that I took away from the penultimate episode of Severance. This episode started out with a very strange and awkward breakfast between Helena and Jaime Egan. Two things stood out to me with this opening scene. Actually, maybe three. Three things really stood out. Firstly, the cinematography remains stellar. It's just beautiful. I really loved all these opening shots. Secondly, that's a very complicated way to eat an egg, but it does seem very appropriate for Severance, doesn't it? And thirdly, why does Jaime Egan sound so fucking weird?
We should take them raw.
Does he have a constant sore throat? Is there something in the air? Does he have allergies? This man sounds like he can barely form a sentence, like it's a labor for him to speak. Maybe he's ill. Maybe Cold Harbor has something to do with that. There is almost no family feel to the way these two interact. It feels very much like an employer and employee. There is no warmth. In fact, it's pretty obvious why Helena turned out to be such a bitch. Look at Jaime, he just has no fatherly instincts. Miss Wong is now leaving Lumen. Her fellowship has ended, and you can tell that Milchick is not feeling at all sad about her parting ways with him. I swear, it's been pretty amusing seeing that this grown man clearly has such a hatred against this 8-year-old girl. Does she just annoy him? Did she stab him in the back? What is his big deal against her? Regardless, it seems like she's on her way out and we won't be seeing her anymore on this show. Okay, maybe that's a bit drastic, and I hope it's not true because she actually is someone I would love to learn more about. Dylan's wife comes clean to the Outie Dylan in this episode about the kiss that she had with Annie Dilly. And Outie Dylan does not respond very well to this. He is actually pretty pissed. It's a really strange dilemma because on the one hand, that is him. That's the guy that she married. But on the other hand, he's not really him at the same time because it's his body, but his personality, his soul, if they have souls or whatever, how that works, well, that's totally separate. I think that Annie Dilly reminds her of the way Outie Dilly used to be, that passion that he used to have, and they used to have so much more spark between them, and that's why she kissed the guy. And now you got Outie Dilly, who is kind of just a moody guy. He comes off as kind of a loser who doesn't really have his life figured out too much. So is he going to try to leave her? I'm not really sure where this guy would go. He's now unemployed because after Gretchen decided to tell Annie Dilly that she could not see him anymore, he basically loses all will to even exist. He's just broken. He's a broken person at this point. He's been teetering on a broken person for a while. He really thought that this woman was going to bring him joy. As a matter of fact, when she tells him that she can't see him anymore, he gets down on one knee with this really cheap looking ring, and it was just a very sad scene because I don't really know what he was thinking. Did he think that somehow they were going to have a future? It's not possible because he is only part of Dylan's severed brain. She would have to stay at Lumen, or they'd have to live somewhere with like a chip thing that would trigger him and make him, it was never gonna work, and I don't know why he thought it was, but he just feels broken and he ends up quitting, which effectively ends his existence as he reminded people with Irving. But I doubt that we are done seeing Dylan on the show, so don't worry about that. We don't have a lot of full-on answers as to what exactly is going on with Bert, what his true past is, but we did get some more details dropped, and I think it's enough to get a pretty good picture of what kind of guy this guy was before. Because the way he snuck into Irving's house and just sat there wearing his all-black outfit, it had professional hit written all over it. So clearly this man has had a taste of being somebody of violence. And maybe it doesn't sound like hands-on violence per se, because he does say to Irving when they are taking that car ride that he has taken a lot of people places. What happens to them afterwards is not really something that he was concerned with or knew about. But we can all guess what kind of things were happening, and that's exactly what Irving is thinking as well. He almost seems not scared enough, to be honest. I think Irving partly has lost his will to live too. But luckily for Irving, Bert really does care about him. He wanted to sever because he knew about this part of his life, you know, these dark things that he had done, and he wanted, like he said, to get redemption redemption for that. So that's why he severed. And finding out that his severed any person fell in love with Irving, well, I think it made him as an outie care about this guy, because this was his shot at redemption. This guy represented part of that journey. So that's why he lets him go, and I guess we're gonna have to find out, where is Irving going? It sounds like he's gonna be on the run, possibly hiding, trying to stay off the radar of Lumen, who will for sure be looking for him, because clearly he knows things. Things on the severed floor are seeming pretty bleak. Poor Helly is feeling left alone because literally nobody is showing up to work, really. Dylan is there, but he is mentally checked out. Irving is gone, of course, and Mark is MIA since the nosebleed. So poor Helly is just wandering around thinking, what the hell is going on? Why am I the only person here? And what is going on with my friends? Are they okay? And with Cold Harbor stuck at 96%, Mr. Drummond is getting pretty antsy. He ends up getting a hold of Milchek and saying, you promised me that this would be done by now. And he really tries to lay into Milchek about this. He tries to make Milchek apologize.
Apologize for the word.
For his big words, because Milchek accidentally slips and says some fancy word like he always does. And this scene was really awesome. I loved it because Milchek is finally putting his foot down. You can tell that he has had plenty of this man and he is sick of it. And he ends up telling the guy to eat shit in a very Milchek way.
Devour feculence.
Milchek is on the verge of something big. I can tell he's reaching a breaking point. He's gonna snap. I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to join Team Cobell and Mark, because he really seems like he's not enjoying Lumen at all. And finally, Mark and his sister have indeed disregarded Ragabi's advice and gotten a hold of Cobell, which we already knew during the phone call that we saw in episode 8. We now know from episode 8 that Cobell is no longer working for Lumen for sure. That's definitely confirmed. I thought maybe she could be, but she is definitely not working for Lumen, and she seems like she has switched sides. She wants to get back at Lumen because they apparently stole the idea of Severance from her. So now she's Team Mark, and she's gonna help Mark get into this birthing cabin so that they can speak to any Mark, and I assume formulate a plan to rescue Gemma, and maybe do some other stuff, because I think Cobell really has it in for Lumen at this point. She mentions that if Cold Harbor is complete, then Gemma is probably already dead. However, most likely Cold Harbor is not complete, and we do know that Cold Harbor isn't complete, and we kind of got the vibe from the Gemma-centered episode that she is only there to push Mark to finish this. So I'm pretty sure next week's episode is going to be a rescue mission. She's going to tell Mark exactly how to find Gemma, what to do, what turns to take, and who he's going to encounter, and they are going to try to rescue her. And wouldn't you know it, next week's episode is actually titled Cold Harbor. So I think we're going to find out what's in that room, what the hell Cold Harbor is. I think we're finally going to understand these numbers. And as I said earlier in this video, Cold Harbor really could be connected to James Egan's health. I mean, that man does not seem healthy. So what do you guys think is going to happen in this finale? Are you looking forward to it? What kind of theories are you coming up with? And do you think any of the things that I have said seems like I'm heading in the right direction? Put your thoughts and everything about that in the comments. And if you like this video, then go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to hear more things from me, subscribe to this channel. Later.